The mystery of the jungle, ayahuasca, or the wisdom of the mountains, San Pedro. Both are powerful, but they work very differently. So which one is the right for you? I want to start with a general disclaimer that we all experience life very differently, and especially psychedelics. And even within the ayahuasca cultures, there are a lot of different interpretations of the ayahuasca. For example, in Peru, it's done with a lot of silence, sometimes even without a fire, where in Brazil, it's a big party with a lot of dancing and a lot of music involved. So there's different traditions, there's different ways to approach these medicines, and we're gonna do the best to bring these closer to you. Let's look at a general overview. The San Pedro is from the Andes Mountains. It's a cactus. The main ingredient is mescaline, whereas ayahuasca is a brew from the Amazon with two different plants, with the main ingredient being DMT. Both taste horrible. In my opinion, the San Pedro even worse, but that's obviously subjective. Let's dive into the intensity of the experience. It obviously also depends on the quantity that you're drinking, but usually the San Pedro, it's more of a subtler experience that you have to meet it halfway, that you have an intention, you contemplate on it, and then it takes you wherever you need to go. You're in generally more aware of your surrounding, of the things that are going on. It's also said that with San Pedro, many people approach it, they have maybe a ceremony or two, and they say like, it's not my medicine. Whereas I have a friend who participates in a lot of San Pedro ceremonies, and he says like, yeah, you kind of like need to drink it 4, 5, 6, 7 times to understand how this medicine is working and to really flow with it. Another part of the San Pedro is the nausea, also through the sitting and everything, where the coca is very helpful to with the nausea as well. The intensity of the ayahuasca, it's a big spectrum. It can be that experience to the moon and back. It can be a very subtle experience. It can be more of a physical experience. It can be comprehensions. You can be in so it's very difficult to categorize that, but generally ayahuasca is referred to as the more intense experience. There are some fundamental differences in the way of the setup of the ceremony. In the San Pedro, there's a lot of structure to it. You sit in the circle around the fire. There's a specific way where you enter, where you leave the circle as well. The experience itself is about 12 hours. You're seated in the ceremony as well. And it's a very communal experience. So you share prayers, you share songs, different people share songs as well. And you can say like, hey, I'm sending a lot of prayers for this family member who's struggling through this. I'm trying to open up more in this direction. And also through this communal experience, the other shares or their prayers can trigger or activate something within you as well. The ayahuasca, on the contrary, is more of a free ceremony. You drink it, you can be inside, you can be outside, you're more free to move around, and it's a very introspective experience. So you don't want to be interacting with others, you are looking within, and that's where your focus is at, and whatever even though five different people are in the ceremony, they might have five totally different topics that they are working through individually with the ayahuasca. There's this common notion that ayahuasca is the grandmother spirit and San Pedro is the grandfather spirit, that ayahuasca is feminine, that San Pedro is masculine, that ayahuasca will give you healing and San Pedro will give you direction, will give you homework, will show you your next steps. And I personally don't subscribe to that. The indigenous, they see ayahuasca as a master plant, that it can come to you in a feminine or masculine teaching, depending on what you need at that moment. The San Pedro as well is very heart opening. I've seen a lot of people cry a lot on the San Pedro. So I think it's more about somebody once started saying that and then other people picked it up and then it just like started with that wave. But I wouldn't say that this is the way ayahuasca is, this is the way San Pedro is, but it gives each person what they need in the time that they connect with these medicines. Many people also associate San Pedro with wind and water, and ayahuasca with earth and fire because it's cooked and it comes from the Amazon. Yet in the Sergio, my teacher, he says he feels a lot of wind and a lot of that element of air through the ayahuasca as well. The cascaveles that are played in the ayahuasca ceremony, they also represent the water too. So again, I think it's more about ideas and projections that people put on these medicines, and they show up for you in whatever way is connected to you at that time. There's a question about combining these two medicines in a retreat. There are certain formats where you do a certain number of ayahuasca ceremonies and then you finish it off with San Pedro, or you have a softer entry with San Pedro and then you dive deeper into your subconscious through the ayahuasca. I also have some friends who do ayahuasca, who are in the medicine community, who do a lot of these ancestral medicines, who drink ayahuasca, and then after they do, I mean, with some time in between, they do San Pedro, and they say like the flowingness, the heart opening of these 2 day work very, very well together. And I cannot agree or disagree with that. It's more than how each person or how each retreat center approaches it. Um, Generally speaking, they were not mixed together because ayahuasca is in the Amazon, San Pedro is in the mountains, and there's obviously a big distance of those two. And our approach to it is also to give space for each medicine to develop on the body, on the mind, on the spirit, and mixing too many strong medicines at once is just not something that is our approach. So wanted to share about the mixing and the combining of these two medicines. There's something that I observe in the medicine community is that people look at these ancestral medicines as a buffet, especially people who've had a history of drug use in the past, and now they're like, hey, I want to try all of these different plant medicines to see how they work, and out of that level of curiosity. And the way that I see it is that it's important to have a calling for these medicines. It's not a buffet. It's not just try it and see it how it goes, but a level of calling, a magnetic pull that you want to feel to approach these medicines, to maintain that level of seriousness, that level of intention, which with each one of those as well. In the end, I believe all of these ancestral medicines serve the same purpose. They allow us to look within. They allow us to strip the filters away. They put us in an extraordinary state of consciousness where we're able to make connections that we weren't to before. They help us go from the head to the heart. And they all have different angles as well. So even a bit contradictory to what I said before, sometimes it can be helpful that if you do a lot of one medicine, it's like one approach to it, to also sometimes uh, go at it from a different angle. And it can also help you shake up some of the challenges that you're facing. It also, if you feel like you're getting whatever you need out of one medicine, you also don't need to do the other just to try it. So which one is right for you? Again, it would be irresponsible for me to say what's right for you. And this time it's very important to take a moment of silence, to listen to yourself, and to feel where's that magnetic pull going towards, and then having the courage to trust wherever that magnetic pull is.